Hi everyone, this is Ida. Good morning. I wanted to come on today, guys, because I had made a video on how I made my little roses. And during that video, I was mostly out of frame, you guys. So I decided to go ahead and do another one and hopefully this time stay in frame. I will show you what I use to make my flowers, but you don't have to use this. Any punch, anything you have, whether it be 5 petals or 6 petal punch, die, anything like that will work, guys. But I do use these by Nellie's Choice that I bought on Amazon a while back, and one of them again is a punch, and I showed you the other one earlier in another video, but here are the two sizes. This I think is considered the medium, and this is either the large or the extra large, but it's not very big. As you can see by the petals right here, guys, that it's not very big. And then the smaller one are these petals right here. Hold on. Are these little petals, and then here's the other one. So that's the size difference in them. Today we're going to be working with the bigger ones, and I normally don't do it this way, to be quite honest. I don't put nothing in between to make my my flower. But this time we're going to use the stamen. But really, ideally, if this were the cone would be pointing up. If the pointy part would be pointing up, would be better, because when you make a rose, and I learned this when I made my edible roses, is that my base was a cone. I started out with a cone, but when you put this in the flower, well, it's upside down. So, you know, it's kind of, but it still works, guys. So I'm going to do one with the cone, and we're going to see what it looks like. Now, this one has 6 petals. And like I said, it can have either 5, it can have 6, it really doesn't matter. Now, it didn't have a hole in the center, but what I did, guys, I did punch a hole in the center of my flower. So I'm just going to thread the little stamen. I use these little stamens that came in a pick, and I took them off the pick because they're a good size. I didn't want them to be real small. And I just kind of unwrapped the paper tape, and was able to take them out and just cut it in half. And I'm just threading it through the hole. And I mean, even that would make a pretty flower right there by itself, you guys. You wouldn't have to do much to it. But in this case, we're going to make a rose. But if you don't have anything like this, it isn't necessary, you guys. You can get a flower. You can get a flower and get anything that's round and just kind of curve the tips, so that when you, around a barrel, a pencil, a skewer, anything, so that when you use them, they're already curled. So it's not really necessary. But I think this might make it easier for some people. Now, when I put my first 2 together, I use the ones that are directly across from each other. And I don't put them, I kind of offset them, guys. Like, they overlap on one side, then this side goes in, and this one overlaps on the outside. But what I noticed, and you want to get the little cone right there. See the little cone? You want to get it as tight as possible. And because this has the bulb part facing up, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but not too bad. So I'm going to start off with putting a little dab of glue here first, so it won't move. And I'm just going to hold it for a second so it won't move. And then I'm going to add glue to this one and to this one. Right there, and I'm going to offset it, guys. I'm going to offset them. See, one's going one direction and the other one is going the other, and I'm gonna try and get that little cone as tight as possible. And with this, guys, like this, it really does hold the shape a little bit better. If there wasn't a bead or anything in between, it would be a little bit more crumpled, but because there is a bead in between, it does hold that cone shape. Now, these, I would have normally used the barrel like I showed you earlier and curved them. But because they do have a bead where they're going to go, it's not necessary, guys, because I'm just going to curve it around that bead that's in the center. So I'm just going to pull this up, and I'm just going to pinch just to curve it inside. And I'm just going to keep rotating and doing the same thing. Just like that. And then I'm going to do the same on these on the other side. And normally, like I said, I don't do, and when I'm wrapping them, guys, I kind of try to leave them a little bit more open as I'm going along, not as tight, like as if the rose is opening up just a little. So that is, now if you wanted to leave this like this, you could leave it like this, guys, and this would be a rosebud. But normally, I'm going to be quite honest, when I do these, I do take my little tool and just slide it in between the petal that's sticking out right here, a little piece, and just curve it out a little bit like this. These petals are starting to open up. So that's what I do. Or you can do the tips to kind of flare out the tips, like if they're starting to open up. If you don't have this fancy tool, guys, this is not necessary. Does it make your job easier? Yes. Is it absolutely necessary? No. If you have a pair of needle nose pliers, you could definitely use this to just pinch the petal and wrap around the tool. It's like you don't really have to have that tool. It just makes it easier, you know, and you don't have to be squeezing to hold it or anything. But this is doable, you guys. So anyway, that's the first layer that we put on, guys. Now, I'm going to thread another one. And if you notice, the first one I did it this way, guys, because the cups on here are cupped up. If you notice on the outside, they're really cupped to the bottom. So I used it this way so it would wrap more easily around the little stamen. But when I go in to put the next one, I'm going to flip it upside down where the petals are curving down, because we're going to start with our petals kind of opening up. And I hope that I'm in frame. And here you go, guys. This is what the next one we're going to do. So we're just going to add a little dab of glue to the bottom of the the rose right here. And when we push it all the way up, guys, we want to make sure that the petals are overlapping and they're not layered one on top of the other. So make sure, see right here, this one is in between two petals. And that's what I mean by overlapping, offset, not overlap. I meant offset. So there it is, guys. Now, all I'm going to do to this is I'm just going to add glue to the bottom portion of these petals. And then I'm just going to squeeze them up, guys. That's all I'm going to do. Just hold them there for a second. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other three. It's really simple, you guys. But you want to keep your glue just to the bottom. And I'm going to push these three up. So there's the beginning of our rose right there. They're real simple to make, you guys. If you have never made them, just kind of go for it. It's not really that hard. So anyway, this is pretty much dry right there because I am using hot glue. And now at this point, I would either take this tool and curve the tip down like this, or I would take my tool that is made to do this, specifically for this. Now this, see, all I have to do is slide it in between the petals and give my wrist a turn. That's all I'm doing right here. And I hope that I'm in frame, you guys, because I really did want to redo this a while back and show you. See how pretty that is? Now, if we want to give it another layer and make it a little bit fuller, we can. And that's what we're going to do with this one. We're going to give it one more layer. And you could either use a stamen, guys, or you could use, like my friend Carolyn did, she put a bead in a piece of wire, and that's what she used for her base. But normally, I don't use anything. So I'm going to thread another one of these underneath. And I'm going to add a little dab of glue down here so it won't move. And I don't need very much, guys. And I'm going to make sure that my petals are offset. See, this one is between these two. And this is where your rose really starts to open up. See there? Now, at this point, I don't even need to do anything to this. I don't need to close the petals in. I don't really need to do anything. And really, they are already pretty much curled out. If you want to, you can give them a little bit more shape. Sometimes I'll just pinch the little tips like this down like to give it that point, because some roses do have a point like that. And that's all I do, guys. I mean, look at how beautiful that is, and there wasn't much to it. And I hope that I am in frame this time, you guys. Now, I did cut the bottom of the flower. I think this is called the calyx, you guys. And I didn't put a hole in it, but what I wanted to show you, this one's really, really small, and this is the one that I'm going to use. I'm not sure if this one might work too. It might be a little big, but maybe not. It might not be too big, but I normally use something bigger like this on a bigger rose. Now, I cut these with my die set that my friend Carolyn gifted me. And here are the two sizes, guys, that I use. This one is called 12 Flower Frenzy, and there is the number. It's by Hot Off the Press. And I use the smaller one for my little roses. If I was making a bigger rose, I would use the bigger one. And I just cut them out so you could see the sizes in them. And here are the two sizes in between the two. And after I did that, guys, you see how mine is cupped? You can either shape it with a ball tool or a flower shaping tool. They're called the ball tool. Or you could, what I did was I put it in my vein. I sprayed it with water. I just put it on top of my veiner right here and smashed down on it. But you could do however you want to do it, because I think you can even buy something similar to this, guys, in a punch. I don't have one, and I've always thought I'm going to get some. I'm going to get some and some petals, and I've never done it. But I did buy these. So, and then, of course, Carolyn gifted me this. Thank you, sis. This really makes I'm not going to say my job easier, even though it does, but it makes my work look better when you have the proper tools. So anyway, this, when it cuts it out, originally, guys, a real rose has little slits, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Right here at the bottom of a petal, I'm just going to angle in a little bit and give it a little snip. And it has these little, see right there? I hope that you guys can see what I'm showing you. I'm showing you this little snip that I did right there. And you do it on all the petals, guys. Just way down at the bottom. It's a very thin snip. And that's all you do, guys. You don't cut it all the way through. You just angle it a little bit and snip it. And that's how you make the bottom of the rose. And I'm going to actually take this is for paper piercing. I'm going to take my tool here, and I'm going to pierce a hole in the center so I can put it underneath my flower. This goes underneath the rose, guys. So I pierced the hole right there. And I'm going to use this tool kind of to make it bigger. And take this out. And I'm going to thread it through the stamen. And then I'm going to add another little dab of glue down here, you guys. So it won't come undone. And not much. I didn't add much. And I'm just going to slide it all the way down. And that's all there is to this, guys. So see, there's the back of the rose. And let me see if I can show you these little slits that I made on here. Some of them are being a little stubborn. This one's glued down, I think. But all these have that little piece, that little snip that I did right there. And they are kind of hard to see, but they're there, guys. But that's how you make the calyx on the, and I think that's what it's called, the calyx on the rose. So there's the rose, you guys. Now, I do have the punch, guys, for these. And again, they are by Nelly's Choice. Now, I don't get paid by them or anything like that, you guys, but I do like these. So anytime I recommend something to you, I don't get paid by any company. I'm just showing you what I use and what I like to use. If something really doesn't work well for me, I would tell you, because I don't get paid by these companies. And even if I did get paid by the companies, I wouldn't lie. Anyway, these things I really, really like. And this one, again, does the rose leaf, which is right here, guys. Let me show you better when I rip that one. Is these right here. And I cut it out in the same paper that I'm working on my mailbox, because these will probably go in the little embellishments in the mailbox. And then I sprayed it again, spritz it with water, put my petal in here, punched it again to give it the veining. That's so these two again, but these are pricey, you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I paid, I'm gonna say roughly around $29–30 for the set. So it is kind of expensive, but we pay sometimes that much for dies, or I do. So anyway, that's how I made these little the rose leaves, and these are rose leaves, you guys. And I added a little bit of chalk paint. It's called Brick Wall, so it's kind of reddish. And because whenever you have a rose and it's like a new flower, or it's got new growth, usually the leaves will have some red in them. So that's why I did these, guys. And normally all I would do is kind of just glue that there. And there's the little rose, guys. And I am going to add some hot glue to this, and I'm going to glue it just to the bottom of the rose. Maybe I should have just used, I could have used wet glue, guys, and it would have worked. I wouldn't have had to use, but there it is, guys. And if I wanted to add some more leaves, I could definitely grab another one and move it maybe further down the on the stamen. Hold on, let's see. And I could glue it down further on the stamen if I wanted to, but I think I'm just gonna leave the one. But now you can see the spider webs on here, you guys, and normally what I do to get rid of that is I use my heat gun, and I hit it with my heat gun, and usually those disappear. Make sure you don't burn yourself, because mine gets pretty hot. So there it is. I use my heat gun to get rid of the spider webs, but look at how pretty this little rose is, guys, and how real it looks. Now, if you wanted to make a little bud, let's make a bud. So I'm going to make a bud, and I'm going to use the other piece of this stamen. It should be up here. See, here's the other half to that stamen. And I'm just going to thread the stamen, but I'm going to thread it. See, my petals will be curved. My petals are curved like this, guys, this way. So the see, the cup side is down, and that's how I'm going to thread it, because when I do that, I'm sorry, I'm going to thread it through the, see, the bump is sticking up. And the reason I do that, if yours doesn't have one, then it doesn't matter. It's because the reason I'm doing that is because the petals are curved this way, and I want them to wrap around this stamen. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to add a little dab of glue there, and we're going to do the same thing, guys. We're just going to take two opposite petals, and we're going to curve it around the stamen, just to give it that little cone shape. That's all I'm doing. See, you can tell that I just cupped it around the stamen to give it the shape. Okay, now I'm going to add some glue to both of them, and I'm going to overlap the petals. See how those are overlapped? Same thing on this side. One's tucked in and one's over it. And I'm doing the cone as tight as I possibly can. Normally, you don't want there to be an open hole, especially when you have something that's an opposite color, because you don't want it to show. Now, for the rest of these, again, I'm just going to add some glue. And I'm going to hold it there for a second. And I'm going to do that for the remaining 4 petals. And I am kind of opening them some. I'm not, you know, plastering them to the cone. I'm leaving a little space in between, you know, and with the buildup of the glue, it usually does that. Because I want it to look like it's maybe starting to open up, but not really. And here's the last one. Now I'm going to see if I can tuck this one. Yeah, I want to tuck it in there a little bit. So there it is, guys. And now I'm going to take my tool. I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to work the petal in between and just give it a turn. Like if it's starting to open up, just give them a little twist right there. You hear my phone making noise? I'm going to have to hide it. It was being so good. It was being quiet. But after I leave it on for a little bit and I put it on talk to you guys so no one will interrupt. So no one will interrupt. I stick it in a drawer, guys. And guess what? I had lost one of my phones. And I just found it in the drawer. And the reason it hung up is because it's dead. Anyway, there's the little... there's a little rosebud, you guys. Now let's do the bottom of the rose. Here's the calyx. Do I want to use a bigger one and close it up completely? No, I think I'm going to use the little one again, guys. And I am going to slit the little tips on here to give it that, for it to look more real. And I'm just snipping right there, guys. Just giving it a little snip. And this is how, when I would make my real one, not my real ones, my gum paste ones, that's how I would make them. I would cut these out and have to shape them and let them dry. And it was a process, you guys. And there's another one. I think this is the last one. But that's all I did. Just put those little slits in there. Now I'm going to take my piercing tool again. And I'm going to pierce a hole down the middle. Hopefully I won't hurt myself because I don't want to drag out the... I shouldn't have done that. See what I did, you guys? Because I didn't want to drag out the piercing tool. I ripped it. So I'm going to have to use another one. I know I had an extra one up here somewhere. I could have sworn I had another one. Didn't I? Oh, I'm going to have to use it. God, nope, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. So here's the other one that I had already started cutting. And I'm going to finish cutting the little tips. And sometimes I get lazy, guys. And I try to take shortcuts. And that's what happens. Because I didn't want to pull out that tool to pierce it. And do it the right way and be done with it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. Because I don't want to have to die cut another one. And I'm just going to put it there. And I am going to puncture a hole down the middle. And then I'm going to, let me move this, slide it all the way through to make the hole bigger so it'll fit through the stamen, because when I pierce it just with the tip, it's not thick enough, guys, to fit through the stamen is too thick. So there's the bottom, guys, and I'm going to just add a little dab of glue at the bottom to keep it from moving around. And I'm going to position this so it covers the little gaps that are in between, hopefully. If there's any little gaps like I have in between, see this little gap right here in between these two? So to cover that up, I kind of just put this flower there. Now, when the rose is closed, so are the stamens pretty much. So you can either use glue to glue these down, or you can just wet glue or dry glue, but that's usually how it goes. And actually, guys, if I had used the bigger one, it would have been okay, fine too, because usually when the flower is closed up, the stamens reach quite a bit, you know, above the petal. Let me check to make sure. Whoops, I dropped my flower, guys. Will we be able to find it is the question. Let me see if I can find it real quick, guys. Sometimes I drop things on the floor and I can't even find them. But I found it, so we're good. So I'm going to just puncture a hole here, and I'm not going to cover it up. And we'll see which one looks better, whether it's the one that has the smaller one or the larger one. Let's see. So I'm just going to push this in there. Let me see. Yeah, I think the smaller one. This one might be too big. Yep, this one's too big, guys. But anyway, you would pull these up, guys. And when they start to open up, they do start to kind of curl back. So in that instance, you would just take your tool and curl it back a little bit. But for this one, we're just going to leave it closed. And maybe add a little bit of wet glue to keep them closed. And all I need is a little dab. I don't need much. I don't want to do the hot glue because sometimes, you know, you can see, even though it dries clear, it's still very noticeable. Or to me it is. So that's all I did. I added a little bit of wet glue, guys, to the, I don't know what's going on with my glue little bottle, but it seems to want to ooze out if I don't cap it. So there's the bud, guys. There's the bud and there's the rose. And if I wanted to, of course, I could add a leaf. A leaf to this one. If I wanted to, I could add it right there. And let's do it. But this time I'm going to use wet glue. I'm not going to use hot glue. I'll just use wet glue. Right here. Close it up. And I'm just going to lay the rose right there. And hopefully get this to stick. I might have to use... Nope, we're going to have to use hot glue, guys, because... Let's see. Oh, did it? Nope. So I guess I'm going to have to use hot glue, guys. And all I need is a little bit because I just want this to... See, I just put a little bit there and glued it down. And there is the little rose bud with the little leaf. Because usually a rose will have on the little leaves. Normally I see this and I see a lot of them that come with 2 leaves for the rose. But a rose normally has the 1 leaf and then 2 more. So it's 5. So this one's, I like this one. So anyway, there is the rose, the open rose, and then there's the little bud. But they were real simple to make, guys. And like I said, you can use any 5-petal punch, 6-petal punch. You can use any little flower that has a pointed edge to do the calyx on the bottom. And they are very, very simple to make, you guys. I hope that you like these. Now, I think I'm going to do a tutorial, guys. If I can figure out how to color clay, air dry clay, I'm going to do a tutorial. And I'm going to hopefully try and make a small rose without any tools, just my fingers and the clay. So we'll see how that works out, and maybe it'll come out nice. Maybe we can make some. I'll show you how I made them. I am going to make some sample ones first, and if that works out, then I'll definitely do a video on how to make one with just air dry clay and no tools whatsoever except your fingers. So thanks for watching, you guys. I hope that this helped you. Those of you who have trouble with making flowers, you saw how easy it was to make these. Thanks for watching, guys. Everyone have a great day and God bless. Bye.